Okay, this is 2021 R5, and this particular discussion is going to be about user load cases and being able to print those out. In this version of the program, we have added the ability for Studio to print only user load cases. So what I've got here, I just created a truss and I have some special loads created. They don't have to be special loads, but that's what I have in here. I created a few special loads just to create a loading condition that I wanted. And in my load combinations, I've got two different load cases that I created, a downward load and an upward load that I applied to this truss. It's just a load every 4 feet, 200 pounds every 4 feet up and down. So I just created those load cases and then I've run this truss. And there's several things that happen here. And before we look at the output, I want to go into ENV data because this is something that everybody needs to know as far as how this works. In order to get any load cases printed out, whether it's just the user load cases or all of the load cases, under the audit control, you need to have the audit load cases set to true. If that is set to false, you will get no information on your output in terms of user load cases. So that's step number one. Uh, Another couple of things to understand is there's two audits here that are related. There's adding bearing reactions. It's really not what it says. It's adding the total load that's applied to the truss for each load case. There's a note that comes out underneath. If you want that to show up, then you set this to true. For the most part, I would suggest leaving that to false. And also, you want to make sure that audit analogs is set to false for this feature to work properly. Otherwise, you will get the output that shows which analog members all of your loads are applied to. That will come out on the output. So you definitely want to have that one off. And for those of us in comp review that are reviewing customer designs, this is probably a good time to talk about this again as well. I would suggest that from R5 going forward, that we have this one turned on, and that for all of the rest of the audit cases that you have them set to false initially. And that way we won't mess up any of the user load case stuff for one. But it also makes the program run a little bit faster when you're in comp review because it does not have to generate all of that data. So since we are trying to be as efficient as possible and as quick as possible with everything that we do, turning all of your audits off will be helpful in those terms. Okay. Now, just in case you're wondering, but I like to see all of those tabs down here, right? And I want to see that information when I can. Well, you can still do that because we added a button right here on any truss where you need to see any of that information. Just come to input, right click here, and at the very bottom it says generate all audits. If you click that, that will toggle that. And if you just go to the results button, you'll have all of your audit tabs. Okay. And then you can go right back here and you can turn that back off, and that will turn everything back off that you don't want. But unless you rerun, everything is still there. Okay. Once you rerun, then all your other extra tabs go away and you just have the standard tabs. So it would be better to operate that way in comp review. It'll make the program run a little bit faster when you're in Studio. Okay. However, the point here that we're trying to show on this is that there's now a new load case report. We've always had a load case report that showed everything. Now there's a new one provided with the R5 release called user load cases. And this is for everybody, internal and external. This will be shipped with the program. And if you select that, what you'll see is that what it prints is only the special load cases that the user has created. Of course, when I turned that off, then it turned off my user load cases. So let me go turn that back on again. I'm going to turn it on here so I don't get everything. And we'll run it one more time. That just proves the point of what I was saying. You have to have that turned on. Okay. And let's print this now. We'll try it again. Load cases report, user load cases report. And you can see here that all that we get reported are the user load cases. It will have the whatever description that the user gave that load case, as well as whatever description that the user typed in for the individual loads that are part of that load case. And if it includes any standard loads, of course, those will be shown as well. So you get all of the information here that you would normally get. It says user load case report at the top. The other one just says load case report to distinguish it. All of this header information is the same, okay? But other than that, it's just showing your user load cases. Now, the other thing to understand here, though, is that there is also a new engineering drawing, truss design drawing RGT file that is going out with the R5 release. And when you print that, it's right here. When you print that truss design drawing and you have user load cases, you are also going to automatically get the user load cases reported with your truss drawing on a page 2. So page 1 is your normal truss drawing. Page 2 has your user load cases on it. And these are appended at the bottom. It automatically will always come out on a second page whenever you have user load cases, okay? If your truss already has a second page because of a bunch of other notes that are needed to flow over to page 2, then this just adds at the bottom of whatever else is printed. It does not create a page 3 in that case, unless there's enough user load cases that it has to create a page 3 in order to show everything. All right. Now, one more thing in ENV data to talk about. That option that I just showed with the user load cases coming out on the with the truss drawing is optional. There's a new option here under Other, Print User Load Cases with Truss Drawing. It is defaulted to true. So it will automatically come out with anything that you create with user load cases will automatically come out with that report. If for some reason you don't want it for a specific truss or a specific job or whatever, you can set this to false. Or if you never want to see it, set it to false by default in your ENV data, and then those won't show up. You will still have them available with the user load case report anytime that you want. It just would not be included in the engineering package. The thing to understand with this is with this set to true, when trusses are sent in for the engineers to review and seal, the user load cases will automatically be part of the package of designs that are sent through, okay? And they will come back sealed as part of that design package, okay? If there's any questions about any of this or any discussion needed, please let me know.